There's so much to this packet. I had to divide it
It's
into
been a long,
sections
a lot of reading this week.
so that I could pay attention.
Okay, we're live.
Call the August 28th, 2024 meeting of the City of Millwood Planning Commission meeting to order. First off, we'll start with a roll call. I know that Commissioner Rickard is excused absence. Commissioner Beasy,
Here?
Commissioner Malter,
Here,
Commissioner Wu,
Here,
Commissioner Ankey is here. Please note that we have 4 here. That does have a quorum, so we are able to do some business. First order of business is approval of the meeting agenda. I've looked it over and it looks pretty good to me. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Next up is the approval of the meeting minutes. I looked them over, thought they looked pretty good, except I wanted to catch this before Bobby did.
Oh.
On page 2 of the minutes, 1, 2, 3, third paragraph down, says, Ms. Tanio explained that the Millwood. And I think that should read, and maybe I've overcorrected this. Explained that Millwood participate, yeah, that it is, it's the way it reads. The word the should not be in there.
No.
It should read, Ms. Tanio explained that Millwood participates in the Spokane water system plan. That's the only thing that I caught.
I'm sorry, which paragraph was that?
1, 2, 3,
Oh, 3 up here.
yeah, on page 5.
Sorry. 1, 2, 3. Commissioner Miller asked to involve Ms. Tanio. Oh, was confident that it was possible? No.
No.
Explained.
Up here.
Oh,
Explain
here,
that.
this
Not
one,
indebted,
got
it's
it.
like the second
That
paragraph.
should-
That Millwood, oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Does anybody have anything else?
That could find me.
I don't know if this is a proper place, Mike, just a question about, Amanda stated she would look into when a good time would be for Mr. Lyons to talk to the commission. I'm wondering, have we had an update on?
Yeah, we've talked about that. And Amanda, he's asking when we wanted the Habitat guy come. I believe you told me the October meeting?
Yes, I figured it'd be good to have him present before we start the visioning.
Right, perfect. And I talked with her at that about Millwood Days, and I'm setting that up for our October meeting.
Okay.
For him to come and talk. Okay. If nobody has anything else, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
I move that we approve the minutes as amended.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. All right. Moving on to the public hearing for the Starbucks sign permit. So, before we do that, Lisa, we usually have a book here or a cheat sheet for that. I realize that we have nobody here, but we gotta follow proper protocol.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And we haven't done one of those in a while, and I wanna make sure that we do it right.
And who knows how many people are following us remotely.
That's true.
Sure.
Uh-oh, yes, over on the screen here, that's not supposed to be there. Here you go. Went on the wrong. There we go. Okay.
Great, thank you, Lisa, appreciate it very, very much. Okay, so we're going to open the public hearing on the Starbucks sign permit. And ask all those who wish to provide testimony to sign in. Would anybody like to provide testimony, please sign in. Does anybody on the commission have a conflict of interest with this?
No?
No,
Seeing none, we'll move on. Okay, and now we are ready for the staff presentation.
Okay, so these are standard Starbucks menu boards. I think nearly exact to what is at the existing Starbucks out there. They're over 42 inches tall. There are 3 of them because it kind of leads you up the drive-through for various things. And they are essentially changeable menu boards because they're electronic. Therefore, they needed the special sign permit. The ones that are at the existing location were relocated, but they had decided to do brand new ones for the new facility that is being built closer to Trent there. I'm not going to completely go over my staff report, but basically, they are being reviewed as a special sign permit. They will not extend over the right of way. They're in an area that's located, it's all commercial around it. Message centers are common, the menu boards, and it's in essentially a commercial retail complex. We have not received any complaints on the existing ones, and I believe we only received one comment in, and it was from the fire district, and essentially it is no objection. And so draft recommendations would be recommendation of approval of the special sign permit, recommendation of approval with conditions, or recommendation of denial as noted on page 12 of your packet or page 4 of the staff report. And that is my quick summary.
Okay, perfect. Do we have any questions for Amanda?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Commissioner Beasley.
On page 22 of our packet, there's a nice little map showing where the signs are located. But I have been unable to figure out where exactly the driveway is.
Oh, okay.
Which dotted lines or whatever.
Yeah, so the drive-through essentially starts, let me try and remember here on their plan. Boy, it's really faded on that, isn't it? The drive-through,
I have it up on the screen if that helps. What page?
okay,
That one.
Right here?
22.
Oh, that one's got a driveway on it, but mine doesn't.
Oh,
Yeah, and mine's real faded too. So is it visible on that? Does it run along the west side and then wrap around the front and then go up the east side?
So where did the cars come in?
The cars come in along where FBGHI-A4, I believe they come in on that side and then wrap around the front and then come out on the A1DC1 side. Mine's faded as well.
Okay, so they come in from behind, basically,
It actually extends
Yes.
pretty deep into the parking lot. If you've seen it.
just driving by.
Yeah, it's there now. It's pretty long.
Huh. Okay, well, that's, yeah, opposite direction from what I was picturing.
So yeah, that's why the first menu board is F, the next one is H, and the last one is I.
H, okay.
Okay. That makes sense. I couldn't figure out how you went past the little window they handed out at after you saw the signs.
That
but
window
this-
over at A2, it's the handout window.
Do they have 3 at the current one?
I don't know.
I feel
Yes.
like there's only 2. Am I
There may be only 2 at the current one. Most of the new Starbucks now have 3. There's the little overhead one, the little tiny one as you enter, and then the big one right after the overhead,
okay?
which is what this has.
Okay.
Right.
Any other questions?
I do have a question about the height of it. How high is the North 40? We made an exception for them for that.
Oh, that is a very good question. Give me one moment. I believe it is 12 feet, but let me look real quick.
Yeah, these are like menu boards. They're
Like-
like going through the Dairy Queen.
I think the situation with our code is that there is this space in the middle where they're not supposed to be, so they have to be this height or lower, or they
Yeah.
have to be over a certain height.
Okay,
And this is into that mid space.
okay, okay. That answered my question.
Okay, so you don't need the North 40 height?
No,
Okay,
I think Bobby answered that for me. And I do know it's a menu board, not a
Yeah.
sign reader board type thing, yeah.
So the only question I have that we always ask during the review on special signs is, I didn't see a lumen count. I
They
mean,
did
now I
not,
understand these are changeable changeable menu boards, and I'm not concerned that they're gonna be overly bright.
yeah, they
It's
didn't
always
provide
something
a
to take into consideration.
Yeah, one wasn't required to be provided, and they didn't provide one, but they are the standard, black background, so they're not super bright.
Yeah, they are black with
Okay.
light lettering, so that helps. And the only people they're gonna be shining at are their customers as they drive up.
Yeah, none of them even face Trent Avenue.
All right, any other questions for Amanda?
No?
Okay, seeing none. Is there, anybody here representing the applicant? Seeing none. Is there anybody here wanting to do public testimony? Seeing none. No need for rebuttal. I'm gonna call for final questions for Amanda from the Planning Commission. Hearing none. Okay, I'm going to now close the public testimony and the Planning Commission can deliberate. I'll start the deliberation. I looked over the thing. I think this is pretty cut and dried. I would vote to approve. If anybody else has any questions or concerns?
I think that in this particular circumstance, we could trust them to know what they're doing. It's almost on private property. It doesn't affect people in the public way, so I agree.
No concerns there, Jay?
No,
Okay.
none, Mike.
All right, perfect. Then, let's see, we've closed that. Deliberating. Okay, so we have completed that. I'm going to ask for votes on the conclusion of law, approval or denial, and the draft conditions of approval. If you've reviewed all that stuff, it meets all the criteria. So I would entertain a motion to approve the special sign permit for Starbucks.
I will make that motion to approve this special sign permit.
Okay, do I have a second?
I will second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Next item up, item 4B, public hearing for the zoning text amendment. Couldn't get that out of my mouth. So I am going to open the public hearing and ask those who wish to testify or provide testimony to sign in. Seeing none, I'm going to ask all the members of the planning commission if anybody has a conflict of interest.
No.
Hearing none, we're going to go to the staff presentation. Amanda.
Okay, so, this is in response to the concern that we wouldn't be able to correct some of the housekeeping items that were brought to light during the Magnolia Village review, specifically the driveway widths, and those kinds of things. And while a full code amendment would not really be, available at this time, I remembered seeing in the code an adoption by reference that was done back in 22. So I went back and looked at it and realized it was super simple to include the Spokane County section for driveways, bike racks, parking. And so almost all of our gaps that we found in Magnolia can be temporarily addressed by including this in our adoption by reference section. If there is any inconsistency, we can refer to this section. Otherwise, since the Millwood Code has like parking requirements, for example, that's taken care of. We wouldn't need to refer to this section. But this will cover driveways, it'll cover bike racks, it'll cover the majority of the gaps that we found. And then I can get those included when we do our code update over the next couple of years. But I figured this was a good temporary solution to get us through so we wouldn't have the driveway issues predominantly. There's not much to say about it. It's super simple. It's just adopting straight over the Spokane County Code by reference. We had 2 comments come in. Both of them were we had no comment, no objection. And I'm happy to answer any questions on it.
Okay, so the only thing, I have one question for you, Amanda. Is the only change in this big packet that you sent us is what's highlighted in red on page 34?
Yes, that is it. I would remove just a little typo I saw. The brackets weren't removed under the title, so I would remove the brackets. It says we're not otherwise indicated, and then I added in the MMC. And then after, as may be amended, add along with Spokane County Chapter 14.802 off-street parking and loading standards. That's it.
Perfect, great, thank you. Any other commissioner have questions?
No, I guess it's just that, go ahead, Bobby.
No questions.
Questions?
I'll just make a comment that I understand this is a temporary fix until we get into the permanent fix, correct? Okay.
Yes, and this, just so you know, I have used this standard in the past. These have been around a long time, and they work well as an interim or a temporary.
Okay. Is any public testimony? I see none. Any applicant rebuttal? None. Any final questions from the commission? Saying none, okay. I am going to close the public testimony. And now we can deliberate. I don't see anything wrong with this.
I have some major problems with this.
Okay.
I am really flattered that Amanda's listening to us and trying to fix what we're concerned about. This feels to me like there is a chance for some unforeseen consequences. I had a little trouble. I found an 802 off-street parking code online. I mean, first of all, I have trouble voting for this without seeing what we're voting into place. I didn't see that it solved our driveway width. It had a lot of things in there that did not apply to us because they had specific zones that they applied to, which don't match our zones. There was some, they had a grid for figuring out how much parking you needed, but of course they called things differently than what we call them in our grid. So it felt like a little sloppy because it didn't match us very well.
Okay.
And I am really concerned, like I said, I'm not convinced it fixed our problems, but I'd have to really read the current code to be sure.
That's fair enough.
And I'm not comfortable voting on this without
Okay.
having read it, basically.
No, I can say that based on that, I mean, I have to concur with you.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we need to know what we're voting on, for sure, and see how the code's written. Commissioner Malter, any comment?
No, I agree. So we just table this till next meeting when Amanda can present the information that Bobby's talking about.
Commissioner Wu?
I would have to defer to your experience, all of your experience with this.
Okay.
Experience tonight.
So Amanda, are you hearing what we're talking about?
Yeah, I'm looking at the standards right now in front of me.
Okay, because based on what Commissioner Beasy stated, I'm inclined to agree with her. Commissioner Molitor is too. And then, so if it would be a vote to table this until the next meeting to give you a chance to get the code in front of us so we can review the code.
So the
Is
the
that-
14.802.
Bobby, is that what we're-
Yeah, and decide if we want to do it at all, but we need to see the code
Right.
before we.
Can we
Um,
put a specific time?
Can
limit on it?
you provide that to us for next meeting?
I think we still need to.
Yeah,
see
I can.
Make it law. You know, or recommend it be made law.
Don't get me wrong, I understand that we've got a pretty full agenda for the next few months, but
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm concerned about.
this will just be I think if I understand Bobby correct and Commissioner Molitor, will just be a quick review on our part to look at the regulation and just to see what it says, so we know 100% that, okay, yes, we realize this is a temporary fix, but we do want to see what it says.
Or,
I
you know,
thought
maybe
I
the
emailed-
downside will
Yeah.
be
Right.
more than what it fixes too, but we
Okay.
can't tell without looking.
True.
I
And I
thought
have
I
to agree with her on that.
Go ahead, Amanda.
I thought I sent it out to you guys. It's not in hard copy, but I thought I sent it to you, when I first found it. By email.
I've not seen it.
Yeah.
By email.
No.
Probably would be in the.
Did she,
So,
did you send them an email with it in there?
I thought I did when I first found it. I thought I did, but I could be wrong, but I thought I did, but we can provide it again.
so if you did, I'm gonna be honest with you, I am very bad at checking my city email.
I checked my city email this afternoon and there wasn't anything new
Okay,
that recently.
It would have been a while ago, probably a couple.
Yeah.
Or so, a couple of weeks probably.
Okay.
so, maybe and I hate to put any undue work on the staff, but maybe if you do that in the future, Amanda, that you let Lisa know, hey, I sent something out to the city email, and maybe Lisa could text us or give us a call.
Okay, so you need a hard
Cause I
copy
know
of,
I know they have my phone number, cause they call me.
so we need to table and do, another public hearing on the September meeting with a hard copy of 14802.
Please,
Can't we
Okay.
vote to continue this hearing?
Yeah, if you want to, that'd be great.
the hearing has been closed.
No, the public comment's been closed. We haven't closed the hearing.
Yeah, if you could vote to continue the hearing to the next meeting, that way we wouldn't have to renotice it. That would be great.
I stand corrected. Perfect, thank you. And you didn't even need the cheat sheet, and I had the cheat sheet.
I know
Okay,
3 points. that's
so
one.
with that in
I
mind,
wrote the cheat sheet.
I would entertain a motion to continue the public hearing until the next planning commission meeting. And have, our contract planner get us the code that we're reviewing. And, at that time, potentially make a decision on this.
Okay, I move that we continue the hearing to.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second that.
Okay, all in favor?
I,
Aye. Okay, perfect, thank you for that. Okay, next up is agenda item number 4C, the draft Millwood periodic update. So the public hearing for the no public hearing. It's a draft Millwood periodic update for the community survey review. I met with Amanda on Saturday, well, it wasn't a meeting, we had a discussion at Millwood Days. And she wanted me to emphasize before we even get started this, to make sure that we all understand that what's in our packet is a draft. There may be some formatting issues. She understands she understands there's formatting issues in what we have presented. Those will all be corrected before the survey goes out. Amanda? It's your
Yes.
presentation.
Okay. So, this is the community survey that we're proposing. I did get comment from, staff members and the mayor about what some of Millwood's priorities were and some of the, items I needed to focus on, so I've included those. It's about a 10 to 15 minute survey, or, as Bill said at Millwood Days, could be about 20 minutes for him on hard copy. But it includes, all the questions we would need for including the parks, recreation, and open space element into the comp plan, in addition to doing the overall comp plan update. It does a double check on the vision and goals from the comp plan to make sure those are still valid, and then does some general demographic information that can be utilized when you're answering other questions, so that I can get data on somebody's lived in Millwood for 20 years, they're in this age bracket, they have household members in this age bracket. So it has some pretty brief demographic information and then a lot of content on what they want to see for the future of Millwood. So I also am having a required email address on this to help with making sure we get one survey per person, and to be able to include those folks and keep them updated on the periodic update process. So I will go ahead and go to the first question here. So the first question's the email. Second question is just how old are you? Third question is which of the following age categories make up your household? So they would just check all that apply. And these are pretty standard. 4 is how many years have you lived in Millwood? 5, what is your current employment status? And this is so that we know when they answer questions further down about housing and stuff, what the situation is. Question number 6, where does your work primarily take place? And I gave several options from within Millwood to outside Spokane County or working from home. And then what is your primary mode of transportation? Do you or someone you know have concerns about housing affordability in Millwood? Just a simple yes or no on that. And then the next one, number 9, it goes back in 1993, Millwood carried out a community visioning project and general goals were envisioned, which were adopted into the city comprehensive plan. Please respond whether each goal should still be utilized in the 2026 to 2046 City of Millwood comprehensive plan. And it just includes each one of the goals straight out of the comprehensive plan. And they need to choose yes, include it. Yes, include it with modifications, or no, do not include it. And so it just goes through each one there. And that one takes up a little bit of room on this. Unfortunately, it doesn't work to put it in the other format, just so you know, because I can't make them choose one per row on it. So it looks great on electronic. That one's a little rough on hard copy. And then question number 10 goes into the housing. And I actually borrowed this question from another jurisdiction that has already been going through the comp plan update process. And it's to get a feel for how Millwood residents feel about the different middle income or middle housing types. And so Washington state legislation now requires the city of Millwood to plan for multiple housing types and incomes. What impact do you believe the following residential development types have on Millwood? Single family housing, very positive, somewhat positive, none, somewhat negative, or very negative. And then it goes duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, multifamily, which would be 5+ units, accessory dwelling units, age restricted housing, i.e. senior housing, supportive and transitional housing, and emergency shelters. And then the next question, number 11, how would you rate the quality of the following transportation conditions? Condition of the roadways, everything from excellent down to no opinion, traffic flow and congestion, overall walkability, safe lighting and clear views, sidewalks, pedestrian and bicycle paths. And then number 12 is a question I added about transit. Knowing that we're pretty spaced out on our bus stops right now. And so the question is, fixed route public transit is available in Millwood through Spokane Transit. Do any of the following make it difficult to utilize public transit? And it gives everything from the bus stop is too far down to there's no shelters at the bus stop or not applicable. I utilize Spokane Transit. And then I added an other to this as well for people. And they can choose all that apply on that one. The next question is, which of the following are Millwood's greatest strengths and weaknesses? And it goes through all the different topics, housing, all the way through code enforcement, public schools, and they just rank it as a strength or a weakness. Number 14, how important is access to parks, recreation, open space, and trails within the city of Millwood? So now we're getting into the parks questions. And number 15, how would you rate the overall quality and maintenance of the city of Millwood parks, open space, and trails? And I put the 3 that are the predominant right now, the Millwood City Park, the Jean Batson Arboretum, and the Millwood Interurban Trail. Number 16 is just a general overall question, and it looks like that did not print out well on 16. Lisa, I didn't even see that. Let's see. Oh, there we go. It's on the next page. So what are the most important things that Millwood Parks, Recreation, Open Space, and Trails can do for our community? And improve the health and wellness of all residents. They say how they feel about that. create positive activities and fun environments for youth, bring the community together, enhance our environment and connection to nature, promote a walkable community, and provide a place to relax. This is a question I've used in several different plan updates before. And then number 17, how do you feel about the following statements about how well Millwood's parks and open space meet community needs? Millwood has an adequate number of parks and open space. You either agree all the way down to strongly disagree. And then Millwood has adequate features, activities available within the parks and open space. Agree down to strongly disagree. Number 18 is what activities would you like to see more of in Millwood? Check all that apply. And it goes through all the different types of activities. And this relates back to how you program out the park. If you have strong support for fitness and wellness, for example, it's going to be easier to get a grant for the walking track that's included in the Millwood Park Reimagined Master Plan. Number 19, what barriers do you face when trying to visit the parks and open spaces or participate in activities? And it goes through all the choices, and they can check all that apply, because we want to make sure that we're meeting ADA requirements and having parks where the residents need them, those kinds of things. Number 20, what is the most important thing the city could do to improve Millwood's parks, recreation, open space, and trails? And we give 5 different ovals, and they get to choose one that they think is the most important. And then I put a picture of the last version of the Millwood Park Reimagined Master Plan in there. And then I ask the survey respondents to basically rank each of the projects from that master plan. And what that does is it helps with, if you have a clear winner, so let's say the new playground comes out like far and above on top, that gives support when you're going for the grant applications. Any of these can rank out that way, but it shows the city what the citizens feel are the priorities and how they want them prioritized. And then number 22, are there any other projects that you feel should be a priority? Number 23, do you encounter any barriers to individuals with disabilities accessing Millwood's parks, recreation, open space, or trails? So this is a little bit of a different spin on a previous question, because we want to make sure we get this one right. And then if they do, then they answer what it is. Number 25, this is now, we're done with the parks end focus, and now we're back into the overall comp plan focus. How would you prioritize the following potential infrastructure projects or improvements or city services that the city of Millwood might need to plan for in the next 20 years? And it goes over sewer, water, sidewalks, street trees. These are all the priorities that staff and the mayor came up with for Millwood. And they go through and rank them from highest to lowest, doing 1 oval per row. And then it includes some of the parks elements as well, the playground, the picnic and community spaces. So now they're taking not only the parks projects, they're comparing them to the city projects so that we have a really good idea of what the citizens' priorities are. And then number 26, based on your responses to the priority questions, and the mayor actually asked for this one, why did you rank your highest, number 1, and your lowest, number 14, potential infrastructure project or improvement or city service? How you did. So basically, he wants to know why they ranked them highest and why they ranked it the lowest. So he has an idea going forward. And then the mayor liked the idea of dividing up the 10, well, he said $5 bill, but it didn't equate out. I've done a $1 bill before. So on this one, we have a $10 bill. So if you're given $10 to spend on the city, you're the king of Millwood, and you're given $10 to spend, how would you spend it? And so they have to go through and rank how much they would provide to each one in 50-cent increments. It doesn't go higher than $3.50 because if you add them up, you could have $3.50 and then everything else 50 cents, or you could have $3.50 and then $3. You just can't, if you had one being $5, there's no way to give the rest 50 cents, and the mayor wanted it to be at least 50 cents, not zero. So that is the funding question. And then our finance director wanted to know, would you be willing to pay more in taxes or user fees to complete city improvements? A simple yes, no, or a maybe on that one. Number 29, what is your overall satisfaction with living in Millwood? And they can rank it 10 is the highest, 1 is the lowest. And number 30 is a paragraph question. What, and it's optional, what do you think is the most critical challenge facing Millwood in the next 20 years? And finally, do you have any other comments or ideas that you'd like to share? That is the draft survey.
Very good.
Thank you, Amanda.
So much there.
Overall, great job on that. That's a lot of work. When you start getting those surveys, that's going to be a lot of work also.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty thorough though. I know after looking at this, I was doing that $10 deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty difficult. I'm gonna be honest with you.
It is.
It is.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be, personally, from my contractor background, I'm gonna be really interested in that question to see what people think. And then the only other thing, I was actually gonna bring it up in commissioner comments, but I'm gonna bring it up now. I'm sure, as you all know, in our last in our last water bill, we saw the sewer rate increase. And I hope that this survey is not opening you up to a barrage of complaints, because I'm not sure if you're even aware, but over the course of the next 4 years, the sewer rates are going up astronomically. Now granted, it's still gonna be less than $100, but I think the increase was like $50 over 5 years or something like that. I mean, that's a significant amount.
Yeah, it is.
And for some people that are struggling to make it, don't get me wrong, and I guess the point I'm making on this, our sewer system isn't ours.
No.
It's the county's. And so are we opening up ourselves to a barrage of complaints based on this survey is my concern, just personally for you, because of the fact that sewer system's out of our control based on the agreement the city has with the county.
Yeah, we may get complaints, and I'm okay with that. You usually do. You almost always get 1 or 2 comments of the survey's stupid, or it makes no sense. Those are pretty standard. If we at least get a majority that are really helpful in how we're prioritizing things, and if the rates are like taxing on the people, I think the city wants to know. I don't know if there's a lot we can do about it, because I know Millwood was pretty low on their rates, but at least it gives the community a chance to voice their opinion on it.
Perfect, great. Any questions for Amanda on the community survey? Questions or comments? Commissioner Beasley?
I've got a bunch if somebody else wants.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just curious, so like the money question in here, also really neat. This is a Google Forms, right?
It is a Google Forms, yeah, so it looks a whole lot better online.
So I sometimes have trouble with Google Forms. If you don't click on everything, then you can't submit it.
Yes.
And I feel like a lot of people might want to skip that money question because it's gonna take
Okay,
thinking. And then if
So
they
make
skip
that
that, are they just
not
gonna not submit their survey?
If it's required.
okay.
That was one thing I was thinking about. So I'm not sure.
So
in this-
do you want to make that one not a mandatory question, the $10 one?
I would propose that because I would probably skip that question because I'm busy. Just thinking
Okay.
in reality, because the other questions are important to me, but I skip Google surveys all the time at work because I will go through it 6 times and I will have missed one button and then I can't submit it and I just give up.
Okay,
I think can be common.
Me too.
Yeah. The other question I had was that we talked about parks, swimming pools a couple times. I feel like that's a little misleading
We never talked about swimming pools.
because we have the
We
wading
talked
pool.
about wading pool. We
But this-
never talked about
This is
swimming
like a little
pools.
misleading. Like, are we putting an aquatic center in, which
Yeah,
would be
exactly.
wonderful? But I was like, wait, are we putting an aquatic center in? No, we're not. So, I don't know if we wanna,
Which question is that?
It's in there 2 or 3
it's on,
times.
at least on page 89 and page 92.
Okay, because 86, I, wading pool splash. pad. So
Yeah, we might
89,
wanna say wading pool slash,
okay.
Splash pad. wading
splash
pool.
pad, yeah, instead of swimming
Parks-
pool.
My apologies. Yes, thank you. Parks, how about, so wading pool splash pad, just use the same wording?
Yeah,
Did we pick a splash
Okay.
pad? I can't remember.
we didn't,
Yes, we did,
no,
I think.
we didn't decide.
No,
There, it's always still open to.
It was
okay.
still open to community
Right.
input and.
Okay, then
and
yeah, we should put wading pool
Slash,
and or splash pad.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Splash pad that we proposed or was proposed is enhanced over what we have now. We
Yeah.
hadn't finalized it.
Correct.
yeah,
That
we
makes
had,
sense.
yeah.
Right.
I got that corrected too.
Yeah, it shows up in a couple other places too.
I will go through and make sure any reference to swimming pool is actually wading pool splash pad.
Yes,
Are those two separate things though?
Yeah.
but it's.
Right here, the next
we've
one
got
on
the
92.
categories now.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
And we're not asking them to choose on this. So I had a number of comments.
Okay.
One, who is allowed to take this survey? I mean, the obvious problem. And by the way, all these comments are to make it better, not to criticize it, because it's there's a lot of work went into this.
Yeah.
But the obvious problem is with question number 2, apparently 18-year-olds cannot take the survey because as a required question, you have to answer that you are under 18 or you are between 19 and 24. So if
Oh,
you're
so
18,
it's
you're out of luck.
18 or under, okay.
Or
18 or
maybe you want to say 18 to 24 because then you've got voters in the same
Right.
category and
We
you've
can do
got,
that.
you know.
So under 18 stays and 18 to 24?
Yeah,
All right.
That's a
Correct.
great catch.
Yeah.
Really clever.
I didn't.
I have an 18-year-old grandson that lives in town and I'm
It was very
thinking.
nice. I met him at the fair, at the market.
Thank you for that. I missed that one.
Okay, then the other thing I'm wondering about, how many years have you lived in Millwood? So are we leaving out stakeholders that do not live in Millwood, like businesses that have owned property in Millwood and had their business here for 20 years? They do not get to give their opinion. But
So how many years have you lived or worked in Millwood?
something to allow a little bit, yeah, someone that's got just any stakeholder that's got a strong interest in it.
Okay. And then we need to add a not applicable, I do not live or work in Millwood too, I just saw.
Okay,
Yeah.
that would do it.
I want to jump on that a little bit too, because when we were at Millwood Days, we were encouraging anybody that walked through the Millwood Days to get the QR code to take the survey. So we were encouraging non-residents to
Mhm.
take the survey.
Especially the park.
But we will this way be able to tell the
Exactly.
difference. Yes,
Right.
you work here, you know,
Right.
maybe even property owner might be,
Oh, okay, instead of work, so I do not live or own property in Millwood?
well, but, you know, work or own a business can also be, you know, because maybe you don't own your building, but you've been in business here for the last 25 years. That you should have a say.
I will change it to, how many years have you lived or owned a business in Millwood? Is that correct?
Or if you put in none or whatever as an option, then sure.
I think if you put
Yeah.
something in like a box that says, I'm a non-resident or a non-resident, or I work in Millwood.
Okay,
something like that.
okay, there we go.
I work or own a business in Millwood.
Years have you
And then
lived
it could be check
or?
all that apply, because then Bobby could check about 4 boxes. Right? lives here, she works here, she owns a business, or
I'm retired.
are you retired?
Do you want it to check all that apply? Well, it's really mark only one oval because it's how many years, but
Right.
how many years have you lived or owned a business in Millwood? We have the ranges. And then not applicable, I do not live or own a business in Millwood. And then I work in Millwood
Yeah,
is the last one I heard. Okay,
That works.
sounds good. It works fine.
all right.
Then, on number 7, I couldn't find a box for me to check.
Okay,
For what?
so
For
what is
my
your primary?
mode of transportation? Is vehicle, but I'm not driving it. So I'd take
Oh, okay.
driving off of personal vehicle.
Okay, so
Just say personal vehicle.
personal vehicle. Okay, driving is off. All right.
And,
Change has been made.
Obviously, I didn't pay enough attention to some of this.
one of the things, to go back and take an overview and to kind of mention the elephant in the room of Millwood, is we've got this really long survey that's supposed to guide our visioning for the next 20 years of what we want the city to look like. And 2 things basically are not mentioned or mentioned very little. And one is river access. I think it shows up once, maybe twice. And the other is the historic character and resources. Now, I understand that we're not redoing the historic chapter, and that's part of what's guiding the questions, but I think it should show up in there kind of to validate what we currently have.
I
And
believe
then,
it's in goals.
Not really, because when those goals were written, the attitude in the city was, oh, those old houses, like they were nothing. The appreciation has happened since '93, where we were just starting to,
Well, we've got
So you
the
want,
historical
You
commission.
want historic character added to one of the questions wherever it's applicable?
yes, one place I thought it would go good is the, do you see this as a strength or weakness?
Oh, yeah. Okay, what question was that?
That's a good question.
Let's see, flipping through 2.
Maybe a third of the way back.
Oh, it's number 13.
Oh, here we go. 13. Okay, so historic preservation / character?
Yeah, I thought you could say historic resources or historic heritage or historic built environment, or, and there's lots of ways you could express it.
Okay, historic resources / heritage. There we go.
Okay, and then the other thing on that question actually is, I think some people might not willing, we need a neither or a neutral or a something or other, strength or weakness,
Or neutral,
yeah,
they don't care.
yeah.
No
Yeah.
opinion. So you want a no opinion?
Yeah, something like that. And then I would
Okay.
take out the word greatest, because we're not really ranking things. It's just what are Millwood's strengths and weaknesses.
All right. Okay, got it. Next.
So, let's see, because I've gone out of order now.
So I think originally we left off on question 8, I believe it was.
Yeah, yeah. So I answered that one.
Yeah.
So I would be prepared on the, when you're reiterating the goals from '93, be prepared for provide designated areas for large animals, et cetera, adult bookstores in low-income housing, that you might get some that think it's inappropriate because they're having trouble with adult bookstores, so we need to be careful what we interpret from that one.
Yeah.
That was something our planner made us put in there. If it didn't come.
Yeah,
from
that
her.
one I can't change them because that's what's in there. But we could so it's yes, include it with modifications. No, do not include it. I could have a no opinion we could add on there, or just leave it as is, knowing that, this has been 20 years,
Yeah, I think,
30,
It's weird.
30.
yeah, it's weird, but, you know,
Yeah,
leave it
lots-
with
lots of
modifications, kind of gives somebody a, you know, yeah, but take out that.
Well, and people do have the option at the end to clarify any of their answers in the comments at the end of the survey. So
Yes.
The thing is, this required answer thing, you have to answer every single little bubble or you can't submit and we don't get their opinion. And they've spent maybe half an hour, 45 minutes working on it, so that's,
Do you want me to overall minimize the required questions?
I would.
Okay,
I can't tell you how many surveys I have spent 10 or 15 or 20 minutes on, and then about the third question that there is no answer for me on, I just bail out. It's just,
okay.
Bobby, what do you think on page 70 about that top question? Because I'm enhance the identity of the community to both residents and visitors, but I don't really understand that.
well, it's something that came up in
Yeah, I
1993.
don't know what our identity was in 1993.
Well, that was kind of a backhanded way of talking about the historic, our story, our history, our historic buildings. The fact that we were, at that point, I think we were the only city in the valley. That may have been before Spokane Valley happened. I mean,
Yes, it was.
Okay.
we were very unique. So before City of Spokane Valley, before Liberty Lake, we truly were unique. And that's what it comes out of. Of course, that doesn't come across.
Now it's like, yeah, if somebody reads that and they don't have that background, it could be kind of a weird question.
Although there's still a lot of people that take pride in Wegar Millwood.
Oh,
They
definitely.
read that as, but as we interpret these, that's definitely something we need to be thinking of. That, yeah, that's a little awkward. Yeah, I don't know that we leave these out just because we don't get a overwhelming people saying put it in. That's the trouble with including goals written in 93 without explanations is if we don't get very many people saying, yes, put it in, do we,
Now, the other
do we
thing we
take it
can,
out?
we could leave this question out and just cover it during the visioning in October, November.
I think that
so
might
you
be
could-
better.
Do you want, that's totally an option.
Yeah, I mean, there's something a little off about, since these were derived from community visioning, to then take them and round them back around to a survey is a little,
Okay,
so yeah, let's cover it in vision.
take it. Okay, it's gone.
Then,
That would shrink the survey up a little bit too. I mean, my concern
all of
now is that
number
there's too
9
many
gone?
questions.
yeah, we're talking.
Yeah, and that's the one that was really hard to get into a nice looking in a hard copy format too.
Pardon me, was that all of number 9 gone or just that one, all of number 9 gone?
Yeah.
Yep.
So number 11.
Okay.
Overall walkability. I almost feel like that should be divided in two. You know, walkability in residential neighborhoods versus walkability in commercial districts. They're
Okay.
so different an experience. I mean, it's just,
So residential walkability and commercial walkability.
I think so.
Commercial walkability.
Okay, then we've fixed the strength weaknesses of 13 already. I was wondering on overall quality and maintenance of city parks, open space and trails, whether we should include the Dalton median.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
It's not really a park. It's a
It's an open space, isn't it?
yeah, but it's not a usable open space. You wouldn't go out there and have a picnic in the median.
No, but a lot of people walk their dogs there.
Okay.
And do you benefit from it in terms of just driving underneath the canopy and walking down there? It brings tourists into Millwood. It's a big enough
Okay.
deal that we actually have tourists that come in, especially in October. We have photographers come and use it.
Okay.
It's
So
a big
Dalton,
asset.
what want to call it?
Dalton.
Dalton Strip, well, we call it in the city the Dalton Strip, but I'm not sure that's what you.
I'd say median.
I like
maybe.
median.
Dalton
Yeah.
median.
That's what it says on the water bill, Dalton Strip.
Or even historic
bottles,
Dalton
strip.
median or something.
Historic Dalton.
After too much of the bottles at Joe's house.
Just say it.
Okay, I got that in.
That's funny.
And I did historic Dalton median.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Then, one that I thought, how do you feel about the following statements about how Millwood's parks and open space meet community needs?
What number? Oh, never
Oh,
mind.
number 17.
Got it, yeah.
Page 80, yeah.
I think either we should add river access or give a chance to fill in something. I mean, if you answer that you disagree, then maybe you should explain, what are we missing?
What page are you on?
Page 80.
Page 80, question 17.
Thank you.
Since we took out question 9, I could add a question 18 and then just shift the rest down that, and make it optional. Please explain your answer to question 17 above. Basically where they can elaborate on it, or please elaborate on your answer to question 17 above. What is missing, etc.
Something, yeah, to give an option for putting in river access.
Okay,
Say, this is a vision for the next 20 years. We really need to ask the question, I think.
so please elaborate on your answer to question 17. 17. Let's see. And I'll just leave it at that. Please elaborate on your question 17.
I have a comment on this.
Okay.
In the past, the planning commission, the river access has been a big deal.
Mhm.
And in all honesty, before I was on the planning commission, if you would have asked me if Millwood has river access, I would have said, I don't know, I don't think so. We do have river access in a couple spots.
One, I think.
Well, technically
Sergeant
there's
Road.
two. Technically there's two, or we walked it and the guy thought he owned it.
Yeah, so
Yeah, so, but I mean,
functionally, but
so
one.
anyway, I'm thinking that we really, I would prefer to have that spelled out. I mean, actually have something in there that says river access.
Okay,
Whether it's Millwood can have adequate features within parks, open space and river, or actually just Millwood has adequate river access.
there you
Or
go.
something
Okay.
like that. I do think it needs to be added.
As a third, so Millwood has adequate river access.
Right.
Sure.
Okay.
I know that that's been something that we've talked about a bunch in the past, and the main river access is, at least last time I walked it, is very unsafe. I think it's probably huge liability to the city if somebody fell on those steps. But I also know that former Planning Commission Chair Kelly Stravens, that was a big deal to him. And also former Commissioner Dan Hansen, because he kayaks, and that was the only river access that was, they could get their kayaks up and down, and it was precarious at best.
Precarious.
That's at Sergeant Road, they have
Yeah.
steps there.
They used to, they were pulled out,
So
which makes it
homemade-
even more precarious.
Homemade steps people put them in. It wasn't that anything that Millwood did.
Okay.
So,
Well, Millwood did the first ones, they were pulled out. Someone else went back and put in another set of steps. I think they've been pulled out, but it's actually worse now in terms of safety, trying to slide down the bank with your kayak. And
so
people are still doing it.
Okay.
So adding the third line, Millwood has adequate river access. Do you still want a follow-up question? Please elaborate on your answers to question 17.
Maybe it's just any feedback to question 17.
yeah,
Okay.
I would think just put a box there and say, you know, what's that option they always give you on those surveys to additional comment,
Yeah,
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
Yeah.
where it doesn't have to be filled out.
right.
Yeah, correct, it's all. So please provide feedback on your answers to question 17, and it's optional.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I got it.
Okay, number 18. I'm wondering about yard games, horseshoes. Maybe we would rather say tennis, pickleball, table tennis, basketball, disc golf, those kinds of games rather than horseshoes.
Okay,
You know, or
I agree.
and maybe take out the word yard.
okay. So, instead of playing yard games, take that one out and put, pickleball.
So I think you've got pickleball in here somewhere else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wait,
on this particular question?
No, I
Yeah,
don't know,
we
I just thought it was somewhere
Yeah,
else.
it's not in this question. It shows up one place, I think.
you know, games and trends change continually, and I'm not
Yeah.
a big cornhole fan, but that's huge.
I was just thinking
Oh, it's
that.
huge.
Yeah,
It's harder to provide in the park.
no.
I have seen
It's
table
more about
tennis in a lot of
providing the open
parks
space to play it.
Yeah.
with a
Absolutely.
stainless steel table.
Actually, I think cornhole would be pretty easy. It's just two little boards at one end and the other, and with a hole in it, you know, it's, so,
Would somebody be hauling them off?
probably.
They have to be metal.
We could just take that one out altogether, so we don't get into listing all the
Sure.
different,
Yeah, yeah.
and then we have an other. And that way they can fill in anything they want under other.
Yep,
Good idea.
Okay?
and then.
It is gone.
I'd take out swimming and maybe just water play.
Okay?
Then in number 19, I think I can't afford entry or program fees is really not applicable. I cannot think of any activity, anything to do with Millwood's parks and open spaces that require payment.
What I'm referring to on that one is a lot of cities, Millwood doesn't currently, but a lot of cities contract with like Skyhawks to provide kids programming or kids summer camps. And if that's something that comes out of the survey that the citizens are interested in, we need to know if they have problems with entry fees, because they may be paying those in the Valley or Liberty Lake where their kids are currently utilizing those.
But it's hard to ask somebody what barriers you currently face when it's something that doesn't exist.
I can go ahead and take it out, and wait until Millwood ever has those then, which, just so you know, this component, I forgot to state that, while the overall comprehensive plan is guiding for the next 20 years, updated every 10 years, the parks element, in order to stay current for RCO grant applications, is every 6 years. So we could take it out at this point, and then if in the future Millwood offers like contracts with Skyhawks or something, we could add that question back in. Does that sound good?
How about adding just a question, do you have an interest in additional, what do they call it, camps or
And then,
programs?
yeah, the activities we have, we can actually put that under the activities. Let's see, so let me go back to that question. So question 18, do I have camps on there? If we don't, we can add it in. We do not. Instead of playing yard games, we'll put youth camps. There we go. Youth camps.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. And so take it out of the, take out the I can't afford entry or program fees.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, it's gone.
Number 20. I think this would be a place we could put develop river access.
Okay,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
all right.
How many people think this is the most important thing?
Develop river access. Okay. And mark only one oval. Okay, good. I got it on there.
Now, the next one is the one that honestly I feel the most strongly about of anything here. This picture,
Mm-hmm.
this showed up once. We did not approve it, we did not suggest it, somebody got it offline. But I taught kindergarten, I had foster kids, I taught preschool, I volunteered in the schools. I am not comfortable with a picture showing kids getting comfortable playing on railroad tracks. Not when we have railroad tracks running right by the park.
Oh, okay. That's so the railroad track one is a problem.
It is for me, it is a major problem. It just,
Okay. It's probably on there because that's what they chose as the theme. I will talk to SPVV and see if we can go with a different picture there.
we didn't even really choose that as a theme.
It was one of the things we discussed.
It was one of the themes, but actually it got more votes because the river and the natural area around the river was written, the same theme was basically written 3 different ways, and each of the 3 ways got votes. But if you put the votes together, it really came out ahead.
Okay.
But this was we never had a park plan. It never got finished.
Correct. That's why we're at this stage of prioritizing and then getting it finished.
Yeah.
But yes, I understand the concern on that. So I'll reach out to SPVV and see if we can get that picture adjusted.
Yes, please. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, now, number 25, I'm not sure what to do about it, but it was a little confusing to me on how the ranking works. Because it says rank them, and then you put, highest, somewhat high, not sure. And if you're doing this online, I don't know how many pages you go through before you figure out that you're supposed to have come up with a number 1 and a number 14 somehow.
That's not number 25. That would be question, that would be the one for the park. What is that?
It's-
Question 21.
Well, it's question 26, based on 25.
Okay.
Why did you rank your highest number 1 and your lowest 14?
Oh, I see what you mean. I see what you mean, yes. Okay, let me think how I can reword that. That was one that the mayor was interested in. So we need to take the numbers off.
Yeah, something like which was your highest, or which do you
Yeah, trying to.
consider your highest ranked and why?
Yeah.
Rank them in order, please.
or
Why
something.
did you prioritize, and it's not rank, you prioritize?
Yeah.
I think if you get a lot of the highest check, then
Your
that,
highest
I don't
lowest.
know what they're
Okay.
concerned with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that
so.
fix it. Why did you prioritize your highest and your lowest potential infrastructure, how you did?
Yeah, something like that. See what you get.
All right. Got it.
And that's the one that has swimming pools mentioned again.
There it is.
Which I, the
Page
waiting pools.
89.
Yes, should be splash pad waiting pool.
I got it corrected. Okay. And then 27, we're making not mandatory. And I
Right.
got that corrected to parks being waiting pool / splash pad.
Yeah, and I don't know if we want to put river access in either of those two. It could be, it's all right if it's not, as long as we've got the others.
Yeah, I would say, because I don't foresee the river access in the 6-year plan. I would say that would be the long term, the next version. And so we have it as a priority or as a, the adequate question. Maybe we just leave it there because I know it is a very contentious issue.
Yes.
And I don't want, Millwood Park will be one of the main priorities, I'm assuming, because you guys went through this huge master planning effort. You want to get it finished and you want to get it funded. I would hate to see anything derailed with the river access discussion at this stage, but it is a very important longer term stage. So I would probably leave it off of 27 and leave it, put it in where you suggested it.
Yeah, I agree. That sounds good.
Let me play devil's advocate for a second. Isn't part of the reason we're doing this survey is to eventually apply for grants?
Yes.
Okay, and since that river access in my pea brain would be considered an open space, public space, a park, and you're applying for grants for a park, I would think that that would be a great way to get a really nice set of stairs built at that place. So
I can hear just we may get interesting feedback from it. I'll just leave it at that.
interesting feedback is good.
That place
Okay.
is not officially a park, however.
Yeah, that's why I didn't include it in the how it's maintained.
Okay,
either.
all right.
So, yeah. And since this is only 6-year plan.
I understand.
I'm gonna check it out now.
Yeah, check it
Yeah.
out.
It is one place you can go sit and look over the,
Yeah.
well, stand and look over the river. Or
I did go by it the other day on my run and I was wondering if that must be, they must own that. Cause it has the big water cement thing in front of it.
That's the sewer that the city owns.
And it will be included in the park's inventory, just so you know. I will have it
Oh,
included.
okay.
Okay, moving forward.
Okay, the rest is,
Good job.
give your opinion, looks good.
Okay,
It's a good
Good job, you
discussion.
guys.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say great discussion,
yeah.
great discussion.
Yeah, this is great.
So, Amanda, I know that you wanted to get this survey live by the middle of September, which is before our next planning commission meeting.
Yep.
So, I guess I
I
would
have
ask
studied.
my fellow commissioners, based on our discussion, decisions that we made going through this and editing this, do we feel comfortable on voting to accept this survey as we discussed without seeing the final product?
You know, we've talked about keeping this moving along. What about another meeting before it?
We don't have room in the schedule to have another meeting. So my hope was to get your feedback exactly like we did tonight, going through it line by line. I incorporate that in and then I take it to city council for them to do the same thing. And then we go forth from there. Unfortunately, we have to get it out by mid September in order to stay on the schedule. So I can't have a second touch on this one.
Well,
Okay, so
Next it
if
is
I
here.
understand you correctly, you're going to, put in, our edits.
Yes.
And you're going to send that to city council for their approval, so ultimately it's their decision anyway?
On this one, they'll be the final touch on it at the September 10th meeting.
Okay,
Now,
so based on the city council getting a second touch at it, I'm comfortable sending it up the ladder personally.
tell me about how the results are going to be used and what other opportunities people will have for the visioning
Sure.
and for having input.
So I've got the work program in front of me. So mid-September, approximately around the 11th to 15th, Millwood Community Survey begins. Then the next item is your September Planning Commission meeting. And at that one will be the first stage of the Community Visioning Planning Commission / public workshop. So it'll be the Planning Commission and the public gets a chance to go over what would have been a survey question. We'll now discuss those in depth at that workshop. And then at the council meeting at the beginning of October, we do the same thing, but it's a community visioning city council workshop. So planning commission handles the public side, city council then has their own. The community survey ends about mid-October. And then at the October planning commission meeting, we'll invite Habitat for Humanity to come present. And we'll actually get into the meat of discussing potential modifications to the draft comp plan chapters 1 to 4 and the updated community visioning goals, policies, and actions framework. And then we'll go from there with multiple workshops, hearings, everything. I'm going to have stakeholder interviews, everything that was in the adopted work plans.
Okay, so not everything relies on the results of this study.
No, it is one of the tools in the toolbox that we're using.
Okay.
That's a great question. So based on that, Amanda, I just wanna make a statement. Hopefully by now you understand that this current planning commission tends to be very thorough and wants to make sure that we make good, sound decisions and that we're just not gonna pencil whip presentations.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is, I realize we've got a huge task in front of us. But and I know that we have got time constraints and I know that we've got other things coming up. But just know that we are very thorough and we do not just, pencil whip things because they look good on the surface. So hopefully we can still stay on task and be timely is I guess the
Yeah.
point I'm trying to make, so.
And the example I just gave with the updated community visioning goals, policies, actions, all that one has multiple touches. So you start at the September Planning Commission, then we go into the October Planning Commission, then we go into the parks element stuff, and then we come back and January 29th Planning Commission, review modifications to draft comprehensive plans overall. So we have multiple touches where I could include them.
Okay. So.
And March as well.
Okay, so, I'm going to make a motion to see, what the rest of the commissioners feel. I'm gonna say, based on the fact that the city council is going to be able to review the community survey before it's, sent out, I would move that we go ahead and approve the community survey based on the edits that we discussed here be put in place. And I guess that's it. Approve the survey based on the edits that we've put in place. Do I have and I'll make the motion. Do we have a second?
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Motion approved.
Yep.
Thank you, Amanda. Great work. Thank you, fellow commissioners. That was
Good job,
rather
Bobby.
robust discussion, and I think we got a lot of things taken care of there. Right now, we're moving to the next agenda item, which is public remarks. Seeing none, we are now to Amanda's city planner report.
Yes. Let me switch pages here. Thank you, Lisa, for putting this hard copy packet together. All right. So, city planner report. So for July 2024, it was a very busy month. Obviously, we had the planning commission meeting, so I updated council on what we did at the July planning commission meeting. And then did several license reviews, a lot of signage reviews, and a ton of work on the periodic update. I finished the land capacity analysis and am now into the report generation phase. Obviously, we did the work plan and the public participation plan, which did get adopted by the council. Worked on the interlocal agreement for the water system plan, reviewed and researched the Tier 3 model ordinance, and then have kept apprised of the Washington State Department of Commerce training on the middle housing updates, and attending the PTAC and steering committee meetings for the updates. I'd be happy to answer any questions on the planning report.
You had a busy month.
Yeah, you'll see, this is the first time, I believe, in a year, I've had to do a 2-page planning report.
I, for one, am very glad to see all of the permit reviews. Means that the people are doing improvements to their properties in the city of Millwood.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. So, I thought the report looked great. Good work, Amanda. Any commissioner questions?
Maybe a question on the towing company. Is that a new company that's talking about coming in? Is that a company that's cleaning out something that's already there? What is that about?
So it is a new business for an existing property owner over on Trent. Hildebrand Auto is the existing property. They're looking at adding A1 towing to their list of businesses that they have. And we are currently in the review phase on that. At this time, I can't sign the certification form because I can't say that the property complies with all the local land use ordinances. So we're working through with the property owner on those components. So that's the abbreviated version of it.
So have our various actions against them finished, or where does our
That's the code enforcement side, but I believe those were put on hold during a issue that arose for the business owner. And I am not sure how the city's going to proceed on that yet, but we are in discussions with the business owner.
okay, and in the meantime, they're adding a new business.
They want to.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
Okay,
thank
so-
you, that clarifies a lot.
So I have a question on that now, just, I don't know why I didn't think about it till Bobby brought it up. So, knowing tow truck companies tend to have to store towed vehicles on site, and looking at this has a, the way it reads, vehicle transport disposal certification, Hulk hauler. Do we at least ask the question if they're thinking about becoming a scrapyard?
It's not on the form. I believe they already have some wrecking yard use, although I'd have to go back and check the files. I can tell you wrecking yard is not a permitted use. in the current code.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, cool. That just dawned on
Specifically
me.
prohibited
Okay,
in our code.
okay, perfect, cool.
Yeah, but
Anybody
it's
else
on-
have any questions?
It's on hold, right? Is that what Amanda said, Lisa?
It's on hold at this
It's on
time,
hold
yes.
and That's gonna
Code
be-
enforcement?
Yeah, well, yeah, that project
Oh, the other, yes,
The
it's,
approval
well,
is on
and
it.
the approval, right, okay.
Cool.
Okay,
Any other questions on the planner report? Okay, perfect. Good job, Amanda, thank you. Okay, so, commissioner comments, I'm gonna start. I really like what's going on with the farmer's market. We're starting to see some more booths there and more vendors. I like this, I like the new setup this year that goes on there. It makes it way more roomy. It looks like the vendors that have been coming regular, cause I always make a point of asking, cause I go every time, cause I'm addicted to those corner store cookies. I'll be honest with you. So, but I go down there and hey, ask them if it's worth their while and they keep coming back. So, the attendance is great. I like to see that. Had the opportunity to work the Millwood Days booth, Saturday afternoon. What a great event, you know. Kudos to the organizers of that event. I mean, my goodness, it was very well attended. And I don't know, I know Jay, you were there in the morning. I know you were there, at least going through it the afternoon. And I know that Commissioner Ricker was there, but, just the event had expanded large. The car show was phenomenal and, was just a great event. So I was really, really, really pleased with that. And I'm very, happy that I was able to make it back to participate. Lisa, kudos to you and the staff. Amanda, kudos to you for the participation at that event. You guys did a great job, and I think you did a great job of selling the survey, so I think people are expecting that. Not to sound petty, but are we being paid for this joint meeting that we attended in July with the city council? Because it wasn't on our paychecks.
I will make
Just a comment. So,
I would
not
think
not
so.
that I'm dependent on the $40,
I would think it should be, so yes, I will.
But-
And
Okay.
then I'm
Consistent.
guessing it was just an
just
oversight.
throwing it out, just tossing it out,
in the name of consistency.
yeah.
I'm sure it
So,
was an oversight.
Other than that, I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with the packet this month. Okay, it was pretty thorough. I mean, I don't know when you guys got, I'm sure we all got it at the same time, but when I looked at the envelope, I went, I didn't want 2-hour meetings again. And I think we did pretty good getting through this, but the way the packet was presented, you guys did a good job putting it together. So kudos to you guys. So, okay,
Thank you, Amanda, good job.
Good job. That's my commissioner comments. Commissioner Beasy.
I had one, we're having Habitat for Humanity come speak. I have another recommendation for a speaker I think would be really good and applicable. We have locally someone who is very conservative, or very conversant in blue zones, how to make healthy communities, how to plan things so that they're healthier for us. And I would really like to see him speak. He's going to speak to city council in a month or two, I think, but I'd like to see him at our meeting.
September, he's coming.
Okay, and
So-
who is this person?
His name is David Milliken.
Milliken, he's at Hutton Settlement,
Oh, okay,
Oh, I know.
I knew I recognized the name, absolutely, sure, I think that's a great idea,
so I would really like to hear from him.
okay.
And I'm told he does have room on his schedule for us, October, November.
Sure, perfect, okay. Okay, does that sound good to you, Amanda?
Yeah, I'm writing it down.
Okay, perfect. Maybe schedule him for November, since we have a speaker in October. If that's appropriate, or,
If that works with what we're
Yeah,
doing at the
exactly.
time, yeah.
Typically,
It's, that's the Parks and Recreation, element. Maybe, let me look where it would fit best, okay?
Yes, yes. And if you need contact information or something,
I have it.
okay, Lisa's got it, so, okay.
Okay,
What did you say about the time constraint or the time for the presentation?
The presentation for city council is 5 minutes.
Okay.
So that's what the presentation that he has. So typically, I mean, there may be conversation after that that would make it longer, but typically those type of things aren't super long.
Okay.
You know, 10 minutes tops.
Yeah, he
usually,
could
or something like
probably-
that.
Okay.
Elaborate a little more
Sure.
for us,
Sure.
since
Okay.
we're more specifically designing a community here.
So
I was just concerned with everything that we've got going. If we're
that's
gonna
why I
have
was saying it, yeah,
presentations, that's gonna,
the time frame.
Right.
right.
But typically they're, and
Thanks.
if you ask them, you know, to keep it under a certain amount of time, I'm sure he could accommodate
Thanks, Lisa.
that time.
Anything else?
I too very much enjoyed the Millwood Days. I was down the other end of the street
Yeah.
with the historic photos. but
Okay. Cool. Good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a
great
good,
turnout.
successful event, I think.
Commissioner Jay?
No, I think, I agree. Millwood Days was such a huge success, and Lisa did an amazing job. Amanda did an amazing job. I mean, the amount of people, I was a little hesitant about how many people would get into our booth, but just did an amazing job. So thank you to both of you for all the help.
And you're a phenomenal balloon tire.
Thank you very much. Don't let the word get out, okay?
I think it's out now.
Okay.
And Commissioner Savannah?
I would just say thank you to the families who live on that street who let us take over. Because it's a lot of time and a lot of interference. And it was pretty special. And my son and I really enjoyed coming to Bobby's booth and looking at all the pictures and took them back and showed our other family and made for a good conversation, so. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay, well, that moves us to our next meeting is September 25th at 6 p.m. Anticipated agenda items is a checklist presentation for the periodic update and the Community Vision Planning Commission Public Workshop. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
And I will second that
All in
motion.
favor? Aye. Okay,
Aye.
meeting adjourned. Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Pardon me.
Nope.